Hi everybody. Today we're going to get at that video I promised you about drag and drop. I'm going to do this in a new replet so that we can start from scratch and get all the pieces in order. Drag drop video. Create that REPL. So in this video we want to be able to drag two things around. We'll maybe take a look at how to make it so that the style of things change as you drag over, and see if it's going to drop there, and make those things work out. So let's jump right in. I'm going to drop a couple of images in here so that I can work with them. This over here, and desktop. I'm going to want maybe this bear. Seems like a good one. And maybe that image there. Let's do an images folder. There we go. There we go. All right. So in my body, I'm going to have a header, drag, drop, demo. And, well, that's unfortunate. I'm not sure what crashed there, but here we are again. Looks like my folder work completely failed. So we'll try that again. There they are. Okay. So I'm going to have two containers. I'm going to do a main. And inside that, I'm going to have a div id equals container1, class equals container, and that'll have nothing in it for now. We'll do container2, and we'll use that same thing there. I'm going to drop into each of these a heading so that I can easily see if I can actually hit the right keys here. There we go. Right. And then for now, I'm going to drop an image. Images /img underscore 0734.jpg. And for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that images should have a width of 75 pixels and a border of 2 pixels, solid black. And then for these containers, what I'm actually going to do, I need to close off that main. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these containers display flex in the main and just have them be a couple of bars side by side. And to do that, I'm going to say main display flex, and I don't think I even need to wrap it. Dot container is going to have a width of, I'm going to say 45%, a margin of 10 pixels, a background color of, let's work in the blues a little bit here. There we go. I'm going to come maybe, yeah, kind of like that. Something in that range. There we go. And with a minimum height of 400 pixels. So now we've got container 1 and container 2, and we've got this image here that we want to be able to drag over to there. So the first thing I have to do is say that this is draggable. Draggable equals true. So if I run that, it should start to act like a draggable thing, kind of, but it doesn't really do anything. So I have a few things that I need. I need on drag start equals drag event. So when we start, we have to tell it what what data we want to carry over. We don't have to carry the actual whole object. We can carry particular pieces of information if we so choose. Oftentimes we share the ID of something, which I'll need an ID on that image to do that. But we share an ID so that we can grab everything out of that image with that document get element by ID. So let's go ahead and drop an ID on this. ID equals my bear. It's not actually my bear. This comes from the bear sanctuary outside of Yellowstone. Yes, Yellowstone. So the other thing I do is say that on drag over, I need to do some work to make sure that we can allow drag. So we're going to have to write these functions. And then on drop equals drop event. And that event gives us, is where the information is really taken care of. So it has some important information in there. All right, so let's go into our script, and we want drag, drop, and allow drag. Function drag e, function allow drop e, and function drop e. Okay. In drag, we need to set the data we want to move. In allow drop, we just need to prevent the default behavior. And in drop, we need to perform the action associated with this drag drop event. All right, so that's where the real work is done. It gets set up here. This prevents the browser from taking over that event. And then in drop, we do other stuff. So notice that in our HTML, we set event for each of these things. That means that we're going to pass in the data associated with the drag drop events. In the script, we call it E. So that event will be called E in here. So we can say, allow drop's the easy one. Let's start there. E.prevent default. Okay, that stops it from other things. I believe that we also want to prevent default in the drop, and then we do the work that we're going to do. In E, we're going to, or in drag, transfer dot set item, I believe is correct. It's a, no, it shouldn't be a key. So sometimes you got to look up some of the details here. HTML, drag, drop. So if I come here, we see that W3 Schools is a great resource, by the way. It's very super clean and clear. Set data is what it is, not set item. And then what you'll see is that they're different. We've got the format is going to be text, and the data is going to be e.target, the thing we're dragging, .id. Okay, and to, I don't need to say data colon, I'm going to alert e.target.id, and that's going to break this a little bit, but that's right. So I run it again, and I start the drag, and it knows that the ID is my bear, right? So what we're doing is taking my bear, putting it into the data element of the data transfer as a text item. Okay. When we, I'm going to stop that alert because that's going to get in my way a lot. When we drop, we're going to alert that e.dataTransfer .getData text. So we move over here. Nope, I don't really rerun it. There we go. It still thinks that it's allow drag. Did I not fix that? That's not supposed to be there anyway. Sorry about that. Oh. What did I call it? That's the question. I called it allow drop. Allow drag, I guess, is good enough. Let's run it again. There we go, and I drop, and nothing's happening. So let's see that we've got it on both items. HTML. I don't see that container doesn't have those. So I'm just going to borrow them because I want them to behave in the exact same way. Run. So we come here, and drop, and it says my bear. So I know that on drop, I'm getting access to the ID of the thing I dragged. So it's important to note that when we drop, the target of this event is the container you're dropping into. That's why we have to carry that ID with us. So we're going to say e.target, so that's going to be container2, dot append child. Actually, before we do that, var el, the element is going to be document get element by ID e dot data transfer dot get data text. So that's the part that came up as my bear before, and we're going to append that el to the new thing. So now we should have enough to go drop, or I can move it back here. Okay, so that's the real basics of it, and the fact that I've got this means that I can get anything I want out of that el.id. Run it again, drop it. It knows that it's my bear, right? I can find the source when I drop it. That's the full link to that source. So that's the basics of drag drop. There's more that we can do with it though. Being able to get any data out of it is important, because that would allow us to actually manage data in our application in terms of moving things between arrays or whatever it may be. The other thing that we did in class was to look at how to have it actually place it exactly where we want it. I'm not sure I'm going to go into that just now. Let's talk about how to format the thing we're dragging over. So in allow drag, this is our drag over piece. I can also say e.target.style.border equals 2 pixels dashed. We're going to go big here. Chartreuse. Run. So you see that it happens there and it happens there. Now it's not going away when we pull out, right? When we shift gears and go to a different location. So there are a few ways to do that. So let's look at drag and drop events JavaScript. So the API for this, drag enter is the moment that it gets in, and drag leave is when it leaves a drop target. Drag exit means that the element is no longer the drag operation's immediate selection target. So this one's really important. The link is broken, but it's really important. So let's see how that works. If I say that on drag exit equals drag exit event, and I'm going to put that in the other one. And then, so I should have an event that runs the moment that we leave an area. So I come back in here and I say function drag exit E. I'm just going to grab the ID of the thing that I'm leaving. Run. Let's make sure that it got everything. This is a different problem. Let's do console.log. So again, that's a different issue. Why isn't that working? What did I do wrong? Let's look up the can I used for that. So one of the problems we're having with the drag exit is that it is not supported in Chrome at this point. It's in IE and Firefox, Opera and Safari, but it's not supported there, so we have to do it differently. So we're going to say on drag leave. Now this becomes a little bit more complicated because it's not as complete as the drag exit. Let's see if it's working. There we go. Container 2, container 1. So when I leave, it's doing that. It does not fire when I drop. So whatever I do in my drag leave, I need to do on drop as well. And I need to worry about this too, if I'm inside of something that's inside my element. So let's start taking care of those things. Let's start by getting rid of e.target.style equals .border equals none. Run. So that works pretty well. Right? I'm getting that little shift that's going on because I'm adding border and taking it away. But that's working pretty reliably. When I drop, it's not going away. So I want to copy that, and on drop, I want to add that. Yeah, that's working pretty well. I notice that I'm able to drop it into those elements that are beneath it. So what I want to do is make sure that if this is cleaning up the interface a little bit. The easiest thing to do is to not have that be there. But the other thing that I can do is, if the class is not container, then I'm going to go up to a parent element that has that container. And this is just one approach. So I'm going to do this in drag exit first. If e.target.classlist.contains container, then this is not really where I want to put this. This is wrong. There we go. We'll leave that there. In drag over is where we want. If e.target.classlist.contains container, then I want to do that. So that should stop it from doing that. Okay, it's firing off that leave, so I do want that there. Actually, that's not too bad, because I don't want to have anything happen there. I could just turn off pointer events for those two. So that's working pretty well. I don't want to be able to do anything in there. So in drop, I want to say EL equals, so I've got that element. If not EL dot class list dot contains container, then well, maybe I'll just loop through in case I've got multiple things there, right? EL equals EL dot parent element. So it's there, so it's going to be the parent element, and if that doesn't contain it, then it's going to go on up. Eventually it's going to get there because I have to be somewhere on these containers to make that happen. So el.source, there we go, that should do it. Oh no, that's the thing I'm getting. That's not what I want. Well, not so. Var, this is the way I need to do it, equals not that, e dot target. Well, not container dot class list dot contains container. Container is the EL parent element. So when I did it originally, I did it based on the thing I was dragging, which is not what I wanted at all. If the container, the place where I'm dropping it, and maybe I should rename this drop target. I'm going to do that. So if the drop target is that, well, the drop target does not contain container, the drop target is the parent of the drop target. Okay, so we're just going to go up the ladder till we get there, and then we say drop target dot. And we'll do that with this too. I think that'll be more correct. There are other ways to do this to be more certain, but okay, so when I go there, yeah. So that's working. So there's a little bit of cleanup that I might do in terms of, gosh, when I enter there, I don't want to do that. I don't want to take it away. So I could do a similar logic with this to get that target that's actually going to be appended to. Or I could also, I'm going to try this. Let's go here. I'm not sure if this is counted as a pointer event, but we'll try it. In my styles, if I make dot container space h1 have a pointer events of none, this will be good exploration. It just ignores it. It's probably even a better way to do it. I like that. Okay. So that gets us a little bit of how to style the thing we're dropping on, and you can even put something behind it and make it transparent. You could change the text that's inside it so that you get that thing that says drop here to upload content or whatever. You could do all that with this. This really just gives you proof that you have control. Okay. And that's, I think, going to take care of it for now. Yeah, that's going to take care of it for now. Thanks.